Alright guys, I'm finally back out here in the shop. Been really busy with a lot of cool stuff here lately. But I wanted to tell everybody thank you for the outstanding success, I guess you'd say, of my video of Jonathan W.'s Cruise In. It's had over 19,000 views. I want to thank Jonathan for all his numerous shout outs, and I actually went down there day before yesterday and spent a good part of the day with him and got to talk to him and went on some tows with him and really enjoyed spending time with a very good friend of mine. But on that line, I wanted to thank everybody that's given me shout outs. LS Chevy Rider 254 has shouted out for me. R Peak has shouted out for me. Of course, Jonathan W has shouted out for me probably a dozen times. But I've got a good friend of mine, James Lane, who's actually had a YouTube channel longer than me, but doesn't have a bunch of videos on there and hasn't done a lot with it. And I don't know if it was my influence or his new fancy cell phone he got, but he's got some renewed interest in this channel and we talked about it for a while the other day, and he did a really nice intro on it. But his name is James Lane, and his channel is 4Lane Blacktop. And I'll put a link in the description for his channel. But we plan on doing some collaboration work later and all. But y'all will remember James is the one that had the 62 barrel rat rod that I did a couple videos on. I showed his I showed his wagon before he got started, and I showed his chassis after it got pretty much complete. It's a chassis with the LS1 and a 4L60 with airbags and four-wheel disc brakes, and it's really cool. And right now he's working on the floor pans on it, and it's going to be a really nice car. As far as the rat rod goes, he's not going to do anything with the outside, but it's going to be a really good, solid car. So y'all check out 4Lane Blacktop and James Lane's channel. But we as creators of content on YouTube, we need to support each other. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to give any shout outs, and it's kind of paying back. I've been more than fortunate to have a lot of people helping support my channel, and I'm up to over 875 subscribers now, so I hope to grow even larger, but we'll see how that goes. I guess that involves my content or whatever, but like I said, I got a lot of stuff going on. I had that great opportunity to go with Reinhardt Racing out to Sturgis, and I made some good money. And I'm a hardworking person. I got a regular job just like all you guys do, and the only reason I got what I got is because of hustling and really working my butt off and trying to have things, and doing all my work myself, of course. And so my little trip to Sturgis brought me a little bit of extra money and allowed me to buy some parts to do some stuff. This Electra Glide here, the nice exhaust that Reinhardt gave me, has inspired me. This is my daily driver, and when I did my video the other day, I said that it had been painted for 55,000 miles, and I was wrong. It's been painted over 65,000 miles, and come October it'll be 5 years. And I really hadn't done much to it but just maintenance. And this new exhaust, I changed the breather, I put a tuner on it. When I went to Rockingham, I blew out a front wheel bearing, and when we loaded up on my friend's trailer, I wasn't careful of tying it down, and I had some lower fairings with speakers in them on my crash bar here, and cracked them up. So I've ordered a new set of those lower fairings that I'm going to put on here, and it probably won't be in this video, it'll probably be in the next video that I post. I'll show putting them on, because that's what I'm going to work on today. And this is a police Electra Glide. You can see the red buttons for the police controls. That's a headphone jack for the radio. And Electra Glide standards don't have but 4 gauges. And I've done a lot to try to get the police off of this bike. I mean, it was black and white when I got it. Y'all can check out my video where I painted it or whatever you want to. But you know, Harley guys, they make their bikes their own, and that's what I've tried to do with this one. Well, I just happened to find a set of takeoff gauges while I was looking for some other parts for the bike. Actually, a K&N air filter for this breather right here. And I run across a set of factory Street Glide gauges that were taken off when the bike was new, which I don't know what the miles are and won't know until I plug the speedometer in, but they look brand new. And it's got the extra gauges. It's an ambient air temperature gauge and an oil pressure gauge. So I'm going to put those in there. I've also got the civilian controls with the stereo controls in them that I'm going to put on. I don't know if I'll put them on when I do the gauges or not. We'll see how it goes. To, you know, make this bike more mine and to show the bike some love for all the good miles that it's given me and gotten me to where I needed to go and you know, just upgrade it a little bit. So that's what I'm going to work on today, and there'll be a video on it eventually. It might not be today, but eventually there'll be a video on it. And also my job going to Sturgis enabled me to buy a couple more parts. And I've got a ring and pinion kit and a bearing kit and a positive unit for my 67 Camaro project. So I grabbed that stuff up. I've got a bunch of little parts, some holders for the fuel lines and the brake lines on this chassis for the 67 rat rod, so I can go ahead and plumb the brake system and the fuel system on this thing. And just some little odds and ends. The little parts is really what gets you, and it takes a while to get together. It's the logistics behind the project. I mean, like this stuff right here is wiring for the 2 gauges that weren't in my bike from the factory. So this is stuff that I've had to pick up additionally. But to me, that's one of the interesting parts of doing project work is sourcing your parts. I mean, that's what kind of impresses me the most with Jonathan W. is that when he does his one-day builds, he'll spend 6 months sourcing his parts and getting the parts on site, but he doesn't touch a project before the build day. And what that enables us to do is to go to that one-day build and do a build in one day without 40 trips to the parts store and worrying about when we're going to order what and how we're going to get the parts that we need to finish the project in a day. So on his one-day builds, which he's got one going to be coming up in the fall here sometime, they're fantastic. I know you guys are all subscribers to him. If you're not, you need to check him out. Jonathan's really got it together. He's got just a phenomenal mechanical mind. I like to hang out with him, just hoping that some of that will rub off on me. I mean, he can do stuff that I can only dream of being able to do. But his philosophy, along with mine, and along with James's too, is that we believe that you get out there, get off the couch, go do something. I mean, you can dream and dream and dream and never do anything. But if you dream and then go out there and turn some wrenches and try some things. I mean, I was talking to Jonathan W. the other day, and you know, everybody has their first whatever, and you got to do your first whatever. As a matter of fact, he said to me that the best compliment that he could have ever gotten was that cruise in, somebody come up to that 51 Studebaker that he did the whole interior on, and said to him, "Well, you can tell this isn't your first interior job." When in fact it was. And I mean, you got to imagine that's got to be the best compliment that anybody could ever give you, to look at your work and it be so good that they think that you've been doing it forever and it was your first attempt. I mean, and that's the thing, you know, when you don't do something for a living, it doesn't mean that you can't do it. I mean, doing something that you've never done before doesn't mean you can't do it. You just got to try it. You never know. You might be really good. You might find a hidden talent that you never knew you had, and get a lot of enjoyment out of it too. I mean, like this paint job on this motorcycle. Now I painted on an assembly line, but it was painting manufactured parts. It wasn't automotive quality paint. And the painters that I work with would never have dreamed of trying to paint anything besides what we painted on the job. And I painted a Yamaha there one time, and it was a brand new motorcycle when I painted it, and everybody freaked out in the plant when I pulled this brand new motorcycle apart and carried the sheet metal in there and took a grinder, a DA to it, and started sanding it down. But I mean, it came out beautiful, and it gave me the confidence to continue to do that. And I've painted a bunch of stuff over the years, and this bike's not perfect, but it's pretty good. I mean, I can see every little flaw in it. Some you might could see are obvious, and some aren't really obvious, and some I know of that I'll have to look at real hard to find, but they're there. And I think part of the talent in doing any kind of work, be it paint, body, upholstery, carpentry work, or whatever, the mistake that you make, it's how you address fixing the mistake to where nobody will ever know that it was a mistake. And I think that's where the talent and the skill comes in at. But anyhow, I'm rambling. But the biggest thing about this is the love of and the help and support that the creators of YouTube give each other and help promote each other's channels. And like I said, I want to give some back. I want to promote James's channel, 4Lane Blacktop. Y'all go check his channel out. They're going to be, like I said, some collaborations. We're going to do some work together. And I think y'all will really enjoy his channel. It's going to be basically what I do, what Jonathan W. does. It's going to be automotive related stuff with some mix-in stuff. James is... he's the one that got me to go traveling. He's the one that made the trips to Vegas possible because he figured out a way to travel cheap, and he shared it with me and invited me to go with him. And we're going to Barrett-Jackson for the third year this coming October, and I'm really excited about that. I really have a good time out there, and it's the opportunity to see, some really quality work up close and kind of see what the market is for these old cars and stuff. And, but the other part of it is, that everything doesn't have to be, Barrett-Jackson or Mecum quality. I mean, I was telling Jonathan the other day that some of the best times I've ever had is with a car that was in primer or, had rust all over it, because you didn't have to worry about driving it in the rain or getting it dirty, or were you going to park it somewhere where somebody was going to open a door up in it. Now, don't get me wrong, I love to have something that looks nice. I mean, that's why I did this motorcycle right here. It was kind of something that I wanted to do. I took it apart on a Friday. I had sourced all the parts and painted all the pieces, and I took it apart on a Friday when I got home and did what I did and rode it to work on that Sunday, and everybody thought I bought a new motorcycle, and that was the point. I wanted them to say, daggone, this guy. And when I tell them that it was something that I did on my own, they couldn't believe it was the same motorcycle, which is the exact point that I was trying to make. So you guys can do it too. All it takes is getting out there, build your first motor, do your first body work, make your first custom parts, do your first engine swap, whatever. Just get out there and do something. You don't have to be a wealthy person to have a nice car or a hot rod or a rat rod or whatever you want. I mean, just get up, get out and do something. Quit envying what other people have or what other people do, and try to do it yourself. You might surprise yourself. You really don't know. I mean, it's just like the thing when you was growing up and your parents said, eat this, and you're like, I don't like that. And they'll say, have you ever had it before? It's the same thing, you got to try it or you'll never know. But that's enough of this rambling. The next video I post will probably be putting the lower fairings on this bike here and putting the silver face gauges in it. But y'all stay tuned. Check out James's channel, 4-Lane Blacktop. The link will be below. And thanks, Jonathan, and everybody else that supported me. And y'all keep watching. There's a lot of good stuff coming up. It's not going to be fast as I want it to be, and might not be as fast as you want it to be, but there's going to be some cool stuff going on here. So y'all just stay tuned. I appreciate it.